Yeah, so Coach, really appreciate you taking the time to do this. Obviously, Matthew Kostoff. I do journalism and content creating for a website we had put together like the last couple of years called the Center Hub. So yeah, I mean, first of all, congratulations. Huge news over the summer. Obviously, getting hired on to Cleveland State. I've been following your career a little bit since I am a Miami University alumni. So obviously, you associate head coach at Miami for a little bit there, having some time previously at Cleveland State. Just kind of being familiar with Cleveland State, obviously, and being a coach there before with Coach Gates. What's kind of one thing that you saw about Cleveland State that I want to come back and when I got the opportunity to become a head coach and they give me the job offer, what was something that you saw before you even got the offer that you liked about the area, the team, the culture?
I mean, obviously, being from Ohio is home to me. Born and raised in Columbus, Ohio. So to get the opportunity to come here the first time with Coach Gates was a great experience for me. I have 3 little children, and as a basketball coach, you kind of travel the country, with your family, and you put them in different cities and different states. So the opportunity to come back the first time was just a dream come true. My second born was just a little baby. So to get back here and then obviously to have some success, winning 3 championships in 3 years was a highlight, and did some great things. And I think the area of Cleveland is just phenomenal people. You just look at what the people here in the great state of Ohio and the city of Cleveland are, and it's a sports town. You got the Cavs, you got the Browns, you got the Guardians. So with the Cleveland State Vikings men's basketball program being one that's been successful for the last 5-6 years now, it's a great opportunity. It's big shoes to fill, but it was a great field to get back to somewhere that I knew, but also somewhere that was building, and a lot of new things are going on around here in campus, and a lot of great things that Dr. Bloomberg and Kelsey Guri-Harkey, our AD, are producing for this program. So it was a no-brainer for me. It was tough to leave the University of Missouri. We were a top 15 program in the country. We were one of the best offenses in the country. We were slated to have another great year. SEC basketball, Power 4. I know what type of people Cleveland State has and what type of program that this can be, and it's continued to be. And Coach D-Rob did a great job over the last 3 years, winning 20 plus games per season. So I know that it's a lot of high expectations for us. But I know the area, I know the people, I know the arena, I know how to get to work the first day. I know my favorite coffee shop, I know my favorite bagel shop. So Those are things to come back to.
So, yeah, obviously about this, the winning culture. How exciting a time it is in Cleveland sports right now. Obviously, expectations are high, especially coming off last year. I think, what were they? Cleveland State was the highest winning streak in the country at one point, like 14 games. You've also mentioned your desire to not just rebuild, but build on kind of what's already in Cleveland and what's at Cleveland State. How do you kind of balance that building on success previously and kind of implementing your own distinct coach's style and culture that you want to have there?
Well, first and foremost, just maintaining what the level of winning that we've had here. We have championship residue on us. We are a championship level program. So no matter, I know we got a brand new team, brand new staff. Yep. Nobody returning from last year outside of our director of operations, Danny Karliak, who's Cleveland's true son. So to add 15 new players and faces, I know from a recruiting standpoint what type of player can do well in the Horizon League, what type of player can fit Cleveland's atmosphere, what type of player fits my style of play. So, following in the footsteps of, Dennis Gates and Daniel Robinson, who both had phenomenal tenures here, it's special. It's special. Not a lot of people get an opportunity to become a Division I head coach at a place that's known winning. A lot of guys may have taken over a program that's, maybe struggled in the past, and they're trying to, get that first 20-win season. Here, that's the standard. The standard is the standard here at Cleveland State. So, in order to come back here and do this, it's been a great experience. I'm having a blast. Our guys have been working hard all summer long. Yep. I have a phenomenal staff, a lot of guys who are going to be future head coaches. So to have them in my corner, I know that, we have a lot of work still to do, but I just know how special this place is going to be.
Yeah. And speaking on that whole new group, I mean, super exciting times to kind of becoming a head coach, get to put together your whole new team, roster construction. What were you looking for when you went into the transfer portal, and even a couple of freshmen you got for what kind of things did you look for in the guys? Obviously some good experience from guys from lower level like JUCO, NAIA, D2 level. But just overall, what were you trying to bring to the Cleveland State, especially from these new 15 players?
We want to be competitors. We wanted guys that wanted to compete at a high level. We wanted to bring guys that are high character guys, guys with high IQ. I'm an offensive coordinator at heart, so obviously I wanted to put scoring at a premium. Coach Robinson did a great job defensively here, and Cleveland State has been a defensive program for a long time, even with Coach Gates, but we started getting good offensively like our last couple of years here. But I recruited high IQ guys that want to score the basketball, guys that fit the university, fit the city, guys that fit me character-wise, moral-wise. I want high-character kids. I can't stress it enough. We talk about building, and, I think the biggest thing that, we talk about is having integrity, brotherhood and selfish integrity, love, discipline. I show our guys a lot of love, but we want to make sure that guys have a huge amount of integrity so that brotherhood they create can last for years to come.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of wanted to single out one guy in particular. Obviously, Dejan Nesa, Switzerland's finest over the course of that Euro basketball, FIBA under 18, under 19, second team all tournament. He said he was the same kid nobody wanted a couple months ago. What did you kind of see in him when he came into the portal out of George Washington, where you knew, hey, this is a guy I could bring in and he could represent Cleveland State to the highest ability?
Yeah, with recruiting, I do a deep dive on the guys, not only from the character standpoint, but from how they played in the past. I'll go back even guys in the portal. I'll watch high school highlights, high school clips, high school games, just to see who they've been and what kind of player they can be at this level. Yeah. And it was just important for me to watch his Barcelona clips. He's playing junior club for Barcelona, and to see his ability to pass the basketball, his positional size, his ability to communicate on the floor. His ability to score the basketball. Again, at 6'7", 6'8", you don't get too many guys that can handle the ball like that, rebound the ball, and just a good leader. Yeah. So I knew we had something special, and I talked to his mom and dad through the recruiting process, and I said, I'm not looking at what he did at George Washington. I think he made, whatever his numbers were at George Washington. I'm looking at what type of player he has been and what type of player he'll be here at Cleveland State. Yeah. I think he's an all-league talent. I think he's a phenomenal human being. He's obviously somebody who's going to make us better, because with having shooting around him, you look at what he did for the Switzerland national team. He had shooters all around him. Mm-hmm. He made them better. They were able to do some things that they've never done before in their country's history, and they upsetting France. So excited to have him on board. I think he fits really well with our team and what we're trying to build here.
Yep, 100%. Now, you being an Ohio kid and being in Cleveland State now, are you still trying to maintain that Ohio to Cleveland State pipeline? I saw Josiah Harris, obviously Richmond Heights guy. You got a Pickerington North kid. Was it a Cleveland Heights freshman maybe? I've obviously known Josiah because just growing up in Ohio, going to high school near here. I was excited for him at Akron, but obviously coming off an injury. What are you kind of trying to establish with that Ohio to Cleveland connection?
I just think the basketball here in the state of Ohio is great. Maybe I'm biased. Just being from Columbus, graduated from Hannah Lincoln. We had a bunch of pros, a bunch of guys coming through the OCC down there and throughout the whole state. And our state's it's a big state, but it's very, very small. It'll take us 4 hours to get down to Cincinnati, so it's not a small state. Mm-hmm. But basketball, everybody in the basketball community kind of knows each other. I know what type of high school coaches we have here in our state. They're guys that are going to teach their guys how to play. So I won't have to do a lot of teaching from the standpoint of the basics of the basketball. So we really want to draw a circle about 3.5, 4 hours outside of our campus and really recruit that heavily. Yep. From maybe get into a little bit of Indiana, obviously going over to Pittsburgh, getting them into Detroit, getting into Michigan, but making sure that the guys that want to stay home, stay home. Not everybody from the city of Cleveland wants to stay home. Some guys want to go away. I went away to Penn State in West Virginia, so I understand what it's like to go away, but they always need to know that Cleveland's home. And I think that that's the biggest thing for us. We want to be in every high school gym there is in the state. We want to make sure everybody that, can play at the mid-major basketball level and even high major minus basketball level, we're on them. We're getting them on campus because we don't feel like we have to travel too far outside of our driving distance to recruit high-level talent.
100%. Completely agree on the Ohio talent. Always fun to see those Ohio guys get their chance at college, and then few in the NBA now with like Malachi Branham, Larry Nance Jr., just to name a few. But you kind of talked about your playing career, obviously a very diverse playing career, but also very diverse coaching career. And I think it's been 15 years for you now. From D2 to an associate head coach at Miami, then recently Missouri, before that Cleveland State and James Madison. What's kind of one thing you learned from each of those stops, and one thing you took away from each of those coaches with Coach Gates, Coach Steele, Coach Lowe even?
Yeah. I think the biggest things that, I've taken from each of those guys is, having that connectivity in your team. Mm-hmm. I started off at a Division II level, so I learned how to do a lot more with less. Me and one of my former teammates, Joe Mazzulla, we talk about it all the time. I'm actually going to go see him up here in Boston in a couple of weeks.
Awesome.
We were sitting there that first day in the office, and we checked classes, and we're like, man, it's kind of wow, we're basketball coaches, and I never knew I wanted to be a coach. I think he did, and everybody's journeys differently, but I love the recruiting piece of it. I love the day-to-day interaction with all the individual 18-year-old kids that that are looking for some type of guidance. And I remember he said, I'm going to the NBA. He said, I'm done checking classes, I'm going to the NBA. And 15 years later, he's an NBA champion, and I'm the head coach at Cleveland State. So great pass for us, but just kind of learning trial by fire. I think that was the biggest thing for me. I tell a lot of young coaches that are coming up through the ranks, and because you become a new Division I head coach, everybody wants to call you and do you have a spot on your staff? And I'm like, look, I don't have a spot, but I'll tell you, how I climbed up was just through hard work. Through no job was too small for me to do. I was a high major basketball player, but I was popping popcorn and sweeping floors, and I drove an 18-passenger bus to every away game at Columbus State. So I didn't have this preconceived notion of what college basketball was from a coaching standpoint. From a player standpoint, I love the charter flights and the steak and shrimp dinners and all those things along those lines. Mm-hmm. But for me to grind my way up from there, I tell people all the time, I'm blessed to be where I'm at. Not a lot of people know where I started at. It just kind of looks cool because, I'm a 41-year-old head Division I basketball coach of a program that's a winning program. Mm-hmm. But I started very, very at the bottom. I'm back when Drake started from the bottom. Now over here, I'm not, but I definitely started from the bottom. And again, just learning from each of those guys, kind of what they bring from the table from a defensive standpoint, offensive standpoint. My whole coaching philosophy has been just kind of a melting pot of everybody I played for and everybody that I worked under.
Yep. Yeah, not even just getting to the tidbits from your old coaches, but getting the tidbits from your past experiences always helps. You talked about it at the beginning, how improved Missouri's offense was last year, and often you've been credited with helping the team increase their scoring average. What kind of specific offensive philosophies, tactics, you think you're going to try and implement this time around as the head coach at Cleveland State now?
Well, credit the players, man. They put the ball in the hole. I tell people all the time. I was either going to be a genius for going to a program that had lost every SEC game, or a crazy person because we were going to get fired. So either we were going to be phenomenal, or we were going to get let go. So I'm glad that I'm on the other end of that. But I think the SEC, and that's what I kind of told our players and our staff. I want to bring that SEC feel to the Horizon League. Horizon League has been predominantly not a super fast-paced, high octane offensive league. You have certain teams that want to bring that, but I want to take that and ramp it to a whole another level. Mm-hmm. Again, considering how fast we played in transition in the SEC, we talk a lot about time past half, how we want to be under 3 seconds, getting the ball past half. We want to be early pitch to heads. We want to play in the first 7 seconds of the shot clock as fast as possible. Mm-hmm. And give those guys that freedom. I think the way we played offensively at Missouri and the same way we played offensively in Miami and the same we played here when I was at Cleveland State was that free flow pattern recognition of it. We do a lot of constraint-led approach stuff, so we don't really do a bunch of drills that look very, very pretty. We throw different variables in every drill that we're doing. We allow our guys to think on their feet. We want guys to be able to make decisions on the fly. Yep. I'm not a huge drill the ball down and call plays type of guy. I like to teach them how to play within our offensive system and allow our guys to make those decisions. It's similar to what the NBA has gone to. I think the NBA has really gone away from, having sets and a lot of ball screen stuff to a lot of pinch post passes, split cuts, 5 out, playing free flow of it. And I think if we can do that and we can maintain that at a high level, I think we'll see some success there on the offensive end.
Love it. Yeah, that sounds awesome, Coach. Just kind of from a standpoint of, bringing all these guys together, and you're trying to implement this new offense, you're trying to implement this new culture to them. How do you kind of get them to mesh as a whole new group of 15 guys that some of them don't even know each other before they got there? I think 2 you had come from Western Carolina that came together. So you have a bunch of different personalities. You got a bunch of different people who new faces, new places. How do you kind of get them to buy into this Cleveland State build mentality, and how did that go about throughout the summer?
That's a great question. I learned a lot from Dennis Gates in that standpoint. He brought in a sports psychologist, Dr. Joe Carr. They came in and worked with our guys here at Cleveland State and showed me a lot of different things to kind of get these guys to learn how to bond and build a lot faster than normally. When I was at West Virginia, it took time. We were very close with the team, and that's why I think we experienced success while as a player, because we knew each other's family, we knew each other's brothers and sisters. They're everybody's secrets. Like there was nothing that you didn't know about somebody. You knew where they grew up, how they grew up. Anything that happened in their previous experiences. So for us here, that was a big thing for me. Before we even started our summer workout, we spent a week just talking. Yep. We sat in our room. We sat in a circle. We had a basketball. We call it the pill, and we kind of passed it around and kind of went through first off why Cleveland State and not Cleveland, and why Cleveland State in the sense of what coaches want players to say is, oh, it feels so great here and I can see myself growing, but no, seriously, let's get down to the nitty gritty. Was there something in your previous stop that you didn't like the experience of it, and you felt like being closer to home or whatever those things are, just so guys can get to know who each other is individually outside of the game of basketball. I think that's the biggest thing that people don't recognize. They want guys to be able to play open gym to get a feel for how people are on the court, but can you get a feel for how people are off the court?
Yeah.
Can you mesh well with them when you're in the apartments? Can you mesh well with them when you're in the dining halls? Can you mesh well with them when you're on campus at Viking Fest? These different things that players take for granted, and they kind of do it naturally sometimes. We force them to do it at a high level. We go through our journeys. I go through my journeys. I go through, how I grew up, my siblings, my struggles I had as a player, my struggles I've had as a coach, just so they know who I am and I know who they are, and they can learn kind of a little bit of my teaching style, but also for me to learn how they learn as well. So I think the more guys experience that, we're not there yet. We still have a lot more of those those small group individualized meetings.
Yep.
But I think as we go through the fall, those guys will continue to see that, and it's different now, right, with the portal. So you got to do this stuff very, very fast because you don't know what type of team you're going to have year to year. It's just the beast, and I think that we've designed an intricate plan of how we're going to go about that. And I think the guys, it's different. I tell guys all the time, I was like, it's different, right? It's different how I approach things. I'm not a screamer and I'm not a yeller. I'm somebody who holds them at a high standard. I tell them I love them every time I see them. I give them a hug, but also give them put them in a headlock. I'm gonna put 2 arms around them no matter what. So it's going to be either one. So they understand that, and they look forward to every day coming in and talking with me. It's not more of a head coach where you're kind of scared or you're only going to the coach's office when you're in trouble type of feel.
Mm-hmm. So I actually got to speak with Coach Steele a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about how he called it speed dating, actually, the transfer portal now. We also talked about how he was trying to get his non-conference schedule down, and I mentioned, hey, why don't you maybe try and get his in-state rivalry going with Coach Summers, and he said that you guys already got the schedule figured out, and I was looking through it. You got Loyola Chicago, Northwestern, Kent State, Missouri, UAB, Valpo. That's not an easy schedule, non-conference, for a first-year head coach. What were you kind of trying to look for when you put that together? And were you trying to challenge your guys, obviously, to start it out?
Yeah, I really want to challenge our guys. I want our guys to go through non-con and see what we have. We're in a one-bid league right now, so it is what it is until the Horizon League, so we can get a chance to get a multi-bid league. We're a one-bid league, so can we make ourselves the best version going into Horizon League play? So I'm not afraid to play anybody. I'll play anybody anywhere. I'll take that from Coach Steele. That's his go-to saying. Would love to play Coach Steele at some point. I really enjoy my time with him at the university, at Miami University. But I really want these guys to just see how tough college basketball is at a high level.
Yeah.
And obviously when you're in a mid-major program, when you have to play against SEC teams, Big Ten teams, A10 level teams, when you get into the league, you're kind of fine-tuned and you kind of know what you have, you know what to expect, you know what type of competition level guys are going to be at, because it's going to be a grind. We have a lot of great teams in our league that are, done great things in this NCAA tournament across the country. They've knocked off P4 teams left and right. So you look at a team like Oakland, who's, Coach Campy will go play anybody, anywhere. He'll play, 5 high major opponents back to back and prepare his guys. And you see it from what his teams do. Oakland does a great job in the league. They've always been a winning program because he prepares them at a high level in the non-conference schedule. But I probably didn't do myself any favors with my schedule in non-con. So I know people are like, man, you guys got to tell them. I was like, yeah, we'll be highly ranked in the strength of schedule.
Get forged by the fire. That's the only way to do it. So kind of what is your immediate priority for the team this season, and kind of then your long-term vision for the Cleveland State program now?
My immediate priority is just to maintain that level of competitiveness that Cleveland State's known for. I want our guys to understand that they are stepping into I'm stepping into big shoes to fill, but they are too as well. Mm-hmm. So gone are the Tristan Anarunas and Tevin Smiths and the Trago Millions. They're gone. Yep. So can guys like Josiah Harris and Deanne Nessa and Jay Lipscomb and these different guys, Trey Beard, can these guys step up to the plate and do it collectively? Yep. And I think that's the biggest thing with our team this year. We have a lot of depth. So they have to understand that, a lot of them came from places where they've done some great things. They've been 20 points, 17 points, 16 points, all these different averages. Mm-hmm. We're not going to average 175 points this year. So can these guys understand that they're going to have to sacrifice something somewhere? And I told them I don't know exactly what that is for each individual guy as of now. But I just told them they have to be okay with me doing that. Now they got to be happy about it. I'm not saying they have to be happy with sacrifice. No one's ever happy about sacrifice, but people are okay with it. And that's those teams that will win a championship. So our goal every year is to win a Rising League championship. It really is. And I think that this league is very, very competitive. But there's a lot of parity in our league. You look at the teams that have won it through the years, whether it's Robert Morris winning last year, Oakland, ourselves, every team has a shot at it. So this year, can we be very competitive and be the best versions of ourselves every day? And then going forward, can we maintain that winning culture for years to come? And establish that blueprint and continue to establish that blueprint that's been before us. Because I think this is a place that can be successful for years to come. And I think this is a place that people can know this is a winning program. It could be that brand. It could be that Gonzaga of the Midwest. It could be what high level teams can be once we get these things going and get these things going the right way. And
there isn't too many mid-major programs that are in as big as a city as Cleveland. You got the resources coming in hopefully here soon. The talent. I mean, finally some Anaruma, Tevin Smith getting the respect that they deserve in the Summer League and the TBT. So just from a curiosity standpoint, kind of nobody your size on the team this year. No big 7-footers besides I think you have a 6'10" freshman coming in. How do you challenge some of those guys like the Nessas and the JoJo Harrises of the team to kind of step up and going to have to play that 4, sometimes that small ball 5? The way we play, and I think that's a tricky part about us, is that, you look at how we used Mark Mitchell last year in Missouri. Mark Mitchell came as a 4-man from Duke and then comes in, he plays, starts off at the 4, move to a little bit to the small ball 5, and it made us different. We were able to switch everything. We were able to play a lot faster. So as fast as I want to play, I understand that, I think we got positional size at our 2, 3, 4, with, even if you look at a Foster Wonders who's 6'5", and he's a shooter, and you got Deanne, and you got Josiah, and you got David Giddens who's 6'6". So you have a lot of size in that part of the roster. At the point guard position, you got our small guys. I always mess around with them that they're all 6 foot. So your point guards, and then at your bigs, being able to have a Holden Pierre Luis. I know that was at Temple last year, was able to get some good experience, practicing with those guys, and a phenomenal shot blocker, but still only 6'8". But guy has a long wingspan and is able to do a lot of things defensively for us as well. So I think that you look at that and it's intriguing for me because I always believe you can play a little bit smaller, but if you have guys that can rebound and guys that have size in those 2, 3, 4 spots,
we have a 7-footer. No, would I love to have a 7-footer? Yeah, I would love to put a wig on and be out there, and I probably still have a little bit left in the tank. But our guys understand how intense our practices are and how intense we are defensively. And if we're going to switch everything and we're going to be able to guard multiple positions, I think it's important for them to understand that at a high level.
Yeah. So, you've obviously been around the basketball for 20 plus years now, and you've seen some guys, and you yourself have played overseas, but you've also seen some guys who you coached play professionally. Now Tamar Bates with the Nuggets. What are you kind of telling your guys who want to go to that next level now at Cleveland State to the league, and how do you kind of prioritize that when they're you're trying to help them accomplish their dreams?
I just tell them to be elite at something, be elite at what they do. The worst thing a man could be is not know who he is, and I think that for each of our guys individually, they have to know who they are and what they bring to the program and what they bring to basketball in general. Mm-hmm. If you're a big time shooter, be a big time shooter. Yep. Make sure that you're locked in on that, because in the NBA, the pro level, they already know who the Shea Alexanders are. The SGAs and those guys have already been established. So for them to get that opportunity, whether that's a 3-and-D guy or that's a post defensive guy, or whether that's a pass first point guard that gets everybody involved, you have to know what you are and then do it at a high level. Tamar Bates understood that he's a 3-and-D. He can play defense and he can really shoot the basketball. He's a 50, 40, 90 guy. Yep. So we have a couple guys this year that I believe can be 50, 40, 90 guys. And that's what I told them. I said, look, be a 50, 40, 90 guys and defend the basketball. And you'll get an opportunity. Now, where that opportunity is, whether that's the G League, NBA, overseas, I don't know, but they'll put themselves in a great position to make some money and travel the world and do some things that a lot of people haven't been able to do.
Yep, do some things that a lot of people dream of doing. Just two more questions here for you now, Coach. Obviously with a new athletic director, new head coach, what's kind of the plan to get to the student body and the broader Cleveland community to increase, fan attendance, get the excitement around the program for the upcoming season? Just kind of strategies that you implemented this coming up for this upcoming season.
Well, this summer, Carrie Neville, who's in charge of marketing for us, she did a great job. She did a thing called Hoops and Scoops. So we went to all the Mitchell's ice creams around the city. So we were in Shaker, we were in Avon, we were in Westlake, we were in Solon. So we went around and had a little board game, and we're giving out free ice cream and then some tickets to some games just to engage the community. And I know I met a couple people out and about that were like, this is a great idea. You guys, people want to be involved. People want to be involved with Cleveland State, and I think that our administration with Dr. Bloomberg and Kelsey, they understand that people want to be involved and we have to get out in the community. And that was one big thing I told them during my interview process. I was like, if I was able to get this opportunity to be the head coach here, I really want to be out and about in the community. I want to give back with a lot of community outreach. I'll be anywhere and everywhere they want me to speak at, anytime they want me to do any type of YMCA visits, anything, our team will be there too as well. But that's the biggest thing for us, is to let people know we have a great athletic department here, a great university here in the city. We're butted right up against the city, and we have our own little slice of campus here on the edge of it. Yep. But at this point in time, people can get over. They can watch some good basketball, some good soccer, good volleyball, and experience that at a high level in NCAA Division I basketball and Division I sports. So I know the administration that's very high on everybody's list as far as community engagement and student engagement as well. Like I did coffee with Coach today. I'll be over at Starbucks. I'm out and about again. I run a lot, through the city. So I run 10 miles a day. So I make sure that I see everybody. I have my Cleveland State stuff on. I have a little QR code shirt that I run around with that has a QR code on it because I'm 7 foot tall. And when you see a 7 foot guy kind of running through the middle of the street,
the QR code.
Like, what's going on with this? So it's printed on the front and back. I almost wore one on our interview, but it's front and back, a big QR code, takes you to our link, lets you see kind of what I'm trying to build here, and a little video, all those good things. So it's just important for us. Like I said, I think that Cleveland is such a sleeping giant. We're successful, but I don't think people understand how successful we can be, on a national level. Like, we've got some national, televised, experience with those things. But I think it can be truly, like you said before, not too many, universities are in such a big city as Cleveland. That it's a sports city that has Major League Football, Major League Baseball, Major League Basketball. Like, we have all the pros here. We're adding WNBA. We're adding soccer. Like, we're doing a lot of great things in the city of Cleveland.
Yeah.
So I think we're really trying to lock in with everybody else around here to get them to know that Cleveland State's another great time and great place to experience some good sports.
That's awesome. Yeah, the ideas are definitely there, and so is the opportunity. Obviously, you can't go wrong with Mitchell's Ice Cream being from Cleveland. I know that. But yeah, one thing I've always noticed, just being a basketball fan, being from Ohio, is just the student body buying into like teams like being from Akron, obviously going to their games, just always packed, always loud. Dayton's the same way, and that's something I hope, just being from here and living down the road from Cleveland, that happens with you in Cleveland State now. That would be a beautiful thing for Ohio and a beautiful thing for Cleveland. So kind of just wrapping it up here, you said you didn't know that you wanted to become a coach when you were playing back in the day, but what kind of was it? Was there a moment where you were like, hey, I could really do this. I think I could become a head coach of a college basketball program?
I think, I was playing overseas and I got hurt and I went back to West Virginia and was a GA for Bob Huggins for a year while I was doing some rehab on my back. And, just, being around the team and being around the players and, helping out and practicing all those things, the guys just kind of gravitated toward me, I played with Missoula, so, obviously me and him had a relationship before that. But a lot of the new guys that were there were just, asking questions about just being in Morgantown, being a college athlete, being a pro, kind of different things they experienced from, girlfriend problems to issues with, their dad, their parents, just things that sometimes it's hard to go to an older coach with because you feel like they maybe can't relate to you as much. So being around them and taking them to lunch and just being that ear for them showed me a lot of like, man, I wish I had this at a high level when I was in college, because I kind of try to figure out a lot of things on my own or with my teammates. And you and I know if you got a bunch of 20, 21-year-old kids trying to figure out their own problems together, probably not getting a lot of great advice. But I think that was kind of my aha moment of like, maybe I do want to do this because these guys are gravitating toward me. They really are looking for some type of guidance. And if I can help the next generation of guy be successful, to me, that's very, very important. And that's what I strive for every day. I say it all the time. I was like I'm 41 years old now. I don't know how much longer I can relate there. I still have TikTok and I still play Warzone and all those things. So I don't know whenever I can't really relate, is it going to be my time to kind of step down into a role that's more of an advisory role of, helping a younger coach as opposed to helping players. But for now, it's all about letting them see the best version of themselves and letting them see what it's like to be, a father with young kids and, and to be a husband, has been married for 10 years now, stuff that they're going to want to experience. So I think that's a huge reason why I became a coach.
Yeah, and those are the best coaches to me, not just ones that want to help players on the court, but they want to help those players off the court and give them life advice away from basketball. But Coach, those were honestly all the questions I really had for you. Super excited for the season. I was super excited when I saw. Not excited about Coach Robinson leaving it, obviously, but getting his opportunity at North Texas. But when they announced that you would be the head coach, obviously seeing you coach at Miami, I was super excited. I know your journey from Cleveland State, because I was from Cleveland and then to Miami, and then getting another opportunity with Coach Gates at Missouri. Just really excited for you and the opportunity. Obviously, keeping some homegrown Ohio kids in states, always a blast to see. So yeah, man, I can't wait for the season to start. I'll be in Chicago, but when I'm home, I'll definitely come to the Wolstein Arena.
We'll be at Loyola and we'll be at Northwestern, man. So
yeah, I'll be at both. I already marked them on the calendars.
Yeah, but I say, man, if you want to come by, shoot around and all that stuff like that, and then whatever, feel free to it, man. We got 2 games up there for you, so
yeah, I'd love to. I'm excited for the Loyola game. That place is tough to play, and I was there last year for them versus St. Bonaventures, and that place is so small, but it's so loud that it kind of becomes intimidating. You can't even hear yourself think.
Those are the best experiences. Those are the best places to play. I love it. That's why we play. We don't play to play in front of a quiet crowd. So definitely look forward to it. But look forward to see you out there too as well. But I appreciate your time, man. I appreciate you reaching out, man. Anytime you ever need to hop on something, man, and talk, I'm always free, man. Nobody want to tell me when I was assistant, so now that I'm a head coach, I get a little bit more love. Yeah,
of course, man. Hey, but I'll let you. I'll message you on Twitter or something. Maybe we can get in contact. when I'm back in Cleveland or when you come to Chicago. Yeah, I would love to see you and the team do a shoot around, or obviously I'll be at the game. So.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. Let me know. Let me know if you want to come by. If you're back home, you want to come by Pikes or anything like that when you're visit home too.
Yeah,
it's always open, man.
Awesome. Well, hey, I really appreciate it. You have a good break here now. Enjoy the Cleveland summer. The rest of it, while we have
awesome, it. Man. Cleveland summers are the best ones, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.